Did McCarthy tell you to step away from the committees, or did you make
Nobody
this
tells
decision
me to do anything. I made a decision on my own that I thought best represented the interest of the vote.
But what prompted that? I mean, there's...
Pardon me, guys. Ow.
Sorry.
Guys,
sorry.
you gotta relax. You're assaulting me at that point.
Mr. Santos, why do you make a decision today?
He's like, you guys are assaulting me. What's going on? They're like, yeah, sure. Yeah, George, so what? When are you leaving? George Santos, as of Tuesday, announced that he's stepping down from his committee assignments, resigning on his own accord. His decision and his decision alone, after meeting in private meetings with Republican leadership, including the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. He decided on his own is what happened, by the way. So this same Kevin McCarthy that just a couple days ago on the Sunday shows was voicing his full support for this serial liar, George Santos, Anthony DeVolder. It's weird how suddenly everything is flipped. Remember this?
Doesn't it further wear down credibility when you put someone who's under state, local, federal, and international investigation as a representative of your party on committees? I'm talking about George Santos.
If every single new person brought into Congress was elected by their constituents, what their constituents have done is lend their voice to the American public. So those members can all serve on committee. So that means that Santos can serve on a committee the same way Swalwell, who had a relationship with a Chinese spy, but they will not serve on intel.
They're wrapping me in the control room because
well, that's unfortunate. I wish I could answer the question.
That was when he didn't answer the question, but he did definitely say he's got these full supporters thrown behind a George Santos. It's crazy. And now Santos is out. I mean, he resigned on his own is what happened. There's a few other representatives that were talking about this because, again, other Republicans were in the room when they were discussing this, and they decided to tell us reporters some of the details. Don Bacon from Nebraska said that Santos informed the conference that he would recuse himself from committees temporarily until things settled down. And another source told The Hill that Santos called himself a distraction. And then he asked that we all support him when everything else settles down for him to leave to serve on committees. That's what Marjorie Taylor Greene said after that meeting as well. It's all just gonna settle down. He's gonna be back after all this goes down. It's gonna be cool. Yo, we're gonna stop talking about it. Media's gonna stop swirling around this. The lies are gonna settle and he's gonna be back on his committees. Don't hold your breath, because this came after that closed door meeting again with Kevin McCarthy. This is what he said. I met with George Santos yesterday, and I think it was an appropriate decision that until he could clear everything up, he's off of committees right now. That's what he told reporters as well. He finished by saying, we had a discussion. He asked me if he could do that. So I think it was the appropriate decision. Calm down, listen, hold on. You have a one-on-one meeting. You're the new Speaker of the House. You're getting peppered with questions that you can't answer on television, looking ridiculous. Then you have a closed-door meeting with the guy who's been lying, who had a person on his staff impersonate your chief of staff in order to get some money for his campaign finance violations that he's being investigated for as well. You have a one-on-one meeting with this guy, and he went to you and said, hey, Kevin, do you think I could maybe step down from my committees temporarily just to clear things up because I don't want to be here anymore? And he went, yeah, I think that'd be best for you to do, George. I don't want you to do that because I have full support behind you, but yeah, sure, go ahead and do it. Fall on the sword because you're an honorable person. Not one person believes that happened. Let's keep it real. But remember the whole thing about innocent till proven guilty that Kevin McCarthy was talking about? Here's more of that defense that apparently isn't there anymore. Watch.
If for some way when we go through ethics that he has broken the law, then we will remove him. But it's not my role. I believe in the rule of law. A person's innocent till proven guilty.
Apparently not anymore. Or Santos definitely doesn't believe it because he stepped down from his committees on his own. By the way, Jeff, there's some people that are floating the possibility of the reasons why this was happening now, or maybe why they suggested that Santos stepped down, is because they're still trying to oust Ilhan Omar. And I think that vote could come as early as today. They're trying to oust her, and they can't get the conspiratorial juices flowing enough if Santos is around here taking all the air out of the room. That might be one of the reasons too, because there's some Republicans that still aren't decided on whether or not they want to get rid of Ilhan Omar for her comments. So there's that. We'll see where this is going, but it's always definitely fun when developments happen. It might be the beginning of the end for Santos. What are you thinking?
I'm hoping this would be the beginning of the end because there shouldn't have never been a beginning.
Right.
It bothers me that McCarthy would found this on, I don't know, a criminal activity kind of perspective, when in reality, we're talking about something that was immoral. Like the ethics behind this are bad. reading the article earlier, he said the voters have elected him. They'll have a choice here in Congress. They elected who? Sure, all politicians lie and put on a forward-facing positivity about themselves in order to be elected. But this goes well beyond any of that. Like, this person was not the person that they were voting for. If I lied on my resume to get a number of jobs, I would either be fired before even being asked to step down. I don't know why he would even get the option to step down. He should be gone. Like, this should be over with, because even with, and I'm glad the journalists put cameras and microphones in his face in order to ask him questions to hold him accountable. But there's nothing we can believe from this man moving forward, like anything. And so with that sit down interview or talk that he had one-on-one with McCarthy, what possibly could have been said beyond 5 seconds of a conversation? Like,
probably wasn't that long.
Okay.
It probably wasn't. Okay. No, as soon as the meeting was probably had, he's president. We're gonna talk about you resigning. And let's go meet. It's like, let's go in there and let's get our story straight so when we come out, we can both tell the same thing. By the way, I'm glad you brought up the way that, if you lied on your resume, you would not, as soon as you're hired, as soon as they figure this out, you're out the door. There's this weird thing. Once you get a certain level of certain types of jobs that we think are very important, and they should be, like, representing millions of people, that if you lie about it, there's some level of immunity here. If you're a police officer and you can shoot and arrest people and assault them, there's a level of responsibility that's shed for some reason. They have immunity. But if you work at Subway and you steal the cheese, you will be fired. I'm just saying, if you give away some churros from Taco Bell, you're gonna be fired from your $7 an hour job. But if you're making hundreds of thousands in Congress and representing people and changing policy and legislating things, you can lie, and then we'll give you this broad months-long search and discussion and ask questions about whether or not you're happy with this. And oh my God, are you lying? Even though we know you are. And you lie while you're lying, but there's still a process, and he has to actually be convicted of some kind of serious crime before we realize he's a liar and he's not who he told everyone he was. Isn't that weird how that works here?
I can't think of anything else that really works that way. And so I'm glad you said immunity, because that seems to be the case. They are under the impression that because a populace elected him, that he should represent them. Like, who did they elect and who is he representing? All of this has been false. Like, none of this is real. And so I don't know, again, why they were relying on criminal charges and stuff like that. We're not talking about a crime. Well, actually, maybe we are concerning what happened in Brazil and everything. But yeah, he should be gone. Like, this shouldn't have gone this far. He should have never been on committees. Yeah. He should not be in Congress. Like, this should be fairly plain.
I think luckily we'll probably get there, because these campaign violations possibilities are really going off. Also, by the way, I think his treasurer also resigned as of like yesterday, even though it happened. It became public as of yesterday. So things are starting to fall apart. Once your officials that are surrounding your finances start leaving, it's a problem, since that's what they're investigating.